coming up.
This is revolutionary new information.
And it can help you ward off the common cold and cancer.
The changes in their health are remarkable.
Plus, a drug overdose nearly turns fatal.
You are a walking dead woman.
Now, see how she survived.
We have no clue how you are alive.
And here she is, the newly crowned Miss Virginia, live on today's 700 Club.
Well, welcome, folks, to this edition of the 700 Club, and I'm here with Terry. Do you know that we have inside of us a factory of little creatures that can help us fight off all kinds of autoimmune diseases, allergies, asthma, and all that stuff, and it's all available to us, and most people don't even know it's there.
Yeah, there have been so many studies that have shown that the condition that what they call your gut is in can impact so many aspects of your life. I take probiotics. Do you?
Absolutely. Well, I take the pros and I take the pre's.
You take the biotics as well.
I take the biotics and all kinds of stuff. But anyhow, we're going to talk about that. I mean, some of you got allergies, you've got autoimmune disease, you've got all kinds of funny things going on, including, it looks like, Alzheimer's and some of these other diseases, all out of these little bacteria. It's fascinating, and you don't want to miss it. Now, that's more important to most people than talking about Donald Trump, because your gut is right with you, and these candidates are down the road. But nevertheless, Donald Trump yesterday was making a strong promise to Christians. He wants to get rid of the Johnson Amendment. How he learned about that, I have no idea, because I've been fighting that thing for 20, 30 years. But that Johnson Amendment is the IRS rule that was put in by Lyndon Johnson that forbids nonprofits from engaging in politics. And it's been used as a club by the IRS to silence a vocal group of our citizens. Terry.
Well, Trump talked about that pledge yesterday when he spoke to hundreds of evangelical leaders in Orlando, Florida. CBN's Jenna Browder brings us that story, including her exclusive interview with the Republican presidential nominee.
How did it go in there?
I think it really went well. I think the people are fantastic. We had a record crowd of pastors, mostly pastors, and their families, and I think it went amazingly well.
Donald Trump courting Christians on the campaign trail.
So I had a long, beautiful speech written, and I read it. I said, boy, this is boring. This is not what we want to talk about. Because I know a lot of the pastors. I know some of the pastors in the room, and I refuse to put them to sleep, right?
In true Trump style, the Republican presidential nominee spoke off the cuff.
Did you notice I took the teleprompters down, right? I had teleprompters. No, I had a speech written by a professional, and I said, I'm not reading this.
The crux of his speech, repealing the Johnson Amendment.
If I get elected president, one of the early things, one of the absolute first things I'm going to do is work on totally knocking out the Johnson Amendment.
The 1954 amendment was created by then-Senator Lyndon B. Johnson. It limits the free speech of pastors, essentially threatening to take away a church or nonprofit's tax-exempt status for endorsing or opposing a political candidate.
They get absolutely hit with the 501c3, which is the tax-exempt status, which is a tremendous hit. I mean, it's a shattering hit. And it really keeps them silent. Their free speech is being taken away from people that are great people, from people that are saying good things, not bad things. And if I can do that, I will have done a great thing for religion as a whole, and it's so important to me.
And Trump knows it's a major selling point to get Christians from the pews to the polls.
The words I said today are so important, and I was honored to get the kind of ovation I got. But they understand, and I think it'll be a tremendous achievement if we can get it done. And I know we'll get it done if we can get elected. That's why I say on November 8th, everybody has to get up and vote. Because 4 years ago, the evangelicals just didn't vote. Christians didn't vote.
Trump is trying to change that by speaking at events like this one and by showing a softer, more humble side.
In your RNC acceptance speech, it was a really endearing moment. You said you thanked the evangelicals for their support, but you said, I don't necessarily always deserve it. Why did you say that?
Well, because I think I'm not perfect, and because I think maybe I'm less perfect than some people, but I have certain abilities that are good, like being able to do things. And I think I'll be able to do things that will be really great for the evangelicals and for others.
His speech he came across as humble. It wasn't a campaign speech.
Donald Trump is not trying to be an evangelical preacher. I think what he's saying is he understands our problems, he understands our concerns, and he's going to be a champion for us.
I know when people don't like me, and that's okay. Either way, I'd prefer the liking, but sometimes it doesn't work out, no matter what you do.
But some are willing to look beyond that.
You know, a lot of Christians believe that you have been chosen for such a time as this. Do you believe that's true? And have you ever considered that maybe this is a divine calling?
Well, you know, I've heard that from others, and I've heard it from pastors. I've heard it from others, and I don't really even want to think about it because it's too big of a burden. But I can say this, that if I can do what I'm saying I can do, and I'm not only talking with the military and building it up and safety and security and, you know, because our country's in such bad shape in so many ways.
Divine calling or not, Trump says he is a friend to Christians.
And religious liberty, you talked about that some. You know, a lot of Christian business leaders are getting attacked, you know, because they don't want to support gay couples or they don't want to provide services. You've said in the past that you would defend these businesses. What would you do to protect these businesses?
Well, you know what I'm going to do? What I'm going to do to protect, and what I'm going to do, I think most importantly, is work on exactly what I talked about today. They believe so much in religious liberty, as I do, very much. Because without religious liberty, you don't have liberty. Okay, you don't have liberty.
And that's exactly what evangelicals want to hear. But Trump still has work to do. Most of these pastors are on board, but admit he wasn't their first choice.
Some of the things with Donald Trump, not sure exactly what we're going to get. We'll have to see. But with her, with Hillary Clinton, I know what we're going to get, and that just looks bad all across the board.
We can open up the voices of great people, the pastors and the ministers and the priests and the rabbis and people of religion. I think that will be something that I will be so proud of.
This was a move in the right direction for Donald Trump, but of course, only time will tell if it in fact translates in the polls. Reporting in Orlando, Jenna Browder, CBN News.
I must confess, over the decades, I have never heard a presidential candidate speaking so forcefully about religious liberty. They sort of nod and pat you on the back, and that's what happens. They run the evangelicals out for a vote during a campaign, and then when the campaign is over, they guys forget their promises and they go back to doing business as usual. I think Trump means it, but he also feels that this election is in the hands of the evangelicals. If the evangelicals turn out to vote, he thinks that the Republican slate will win. And if they don't turn out to vote, then they're going to lose. It's just that simple. But this is a huge block of votes, and he appreciates it. But the fact that he's zeroing in on the Johnson Amendment, I've been fighting against that thing for decades. And I have never, and I mean never, heard a national figure speak as forcefully about the Johnson Amendment. They duck it, and I have lobbied and talked to the ones, chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee and speakers of the House and all these other people. And they all kind of nod and say, yeah, we'll try to help you. And they never, ever do. And that goes all the way back to Ronald Reagan. I mean, he could have done some stuff too, and he didn't. So they sort of say, well, yeah, let's take you down to the poll. You vote for us, and then you go back and sit in your pews and keep your mouth shut. Trump is saying, you speak out and get with it. I mean, that is a very refreshing refrain. But I know exactly what the IRS has used this as a club over the heads of religious organizations. And the amazing thing is, on the left, black pastors, for example, don't hesitate to speak by name and name candidates and support candidates by name from the pulpit. And the IRS doesn't touch them. But the weight of the IRS comes against conservative Christians on the conservative side of the spectrum. And It's no question about it. I mean, I've seen it with Lois Lerner when she was in the FEC and then later in the tax-exempt branch. She just apparently hated Christians. And now, I mean, she pled the fifth because she'd broken so many laws, and I don't think they've ever punished her. She still maybe gets a pension. But anyhow, this is the campaign we're seeing, and big thing is, I want to say again, register to vote. If you're not registered, you can't vote. Whatever it takes to get yourself registered, go do it. Well, Trump has been making headlines, too, with remarks about President Obama and ISIS, and you say, oh, Donald, please, 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 don't say stuff like that. I can tell you where ISIS came from. I can tell you the person who founded ISIS. I can tell you what he was before he founded it. He was a pimp, by the way. He had a big religious conversion, and then he was killed by a drone strike, and then his successor is Baghdadi, and he's over there running ISIS. But I don't think we can say the president founded it. He certainly encouraged it by his actions. Anyhow, Hillary Clinton and Hillary Clinton says her economic plan will bring back jobs. Let's see about that.
Speaking in Michigan on Thursday, Hillary Clinton unveiled her economic proposals, touting herself as the champion of the middle class. She said only her policies, not those promised by Donald Trump, would bring relief to economically beleaguered Americans. She pledged to start creating jobs on day one of her presidency and give students and their families who earn less than $125,000 free tuition at public colleges and universities. But critics say Mrs. Clinton's plan won't do much for economic growth, at a time when the U.S. under President Obama has experienced the weakest recovery since World War II. And they say her criticism of Trump's plans sounded like the same old class warfare tactics used in past Democrat campaigns. She called Donald Trump's economic plan trickle-down economics and said his tax cut proposals would only benefit the wealthy.
He wants America to work for him and his friends at the expense of everyone else.
But critics also point out Hillary Clinton has received millions more from Wall Street than Donald Trump. So far this year, hedge fund investors and their employees have reportedly contributed $48 million to Clinton and only $19,000 to Trump. The former Secretary of State has also gained personally, receiving $21 million in speaking fees from Wall Street firms. Mrs. Clinton also bashed Trump's manufacturing practices.
He's made Trump ties in China and Trump suits in Mexico instead of here in Michigan. He keeps saying it's not possible to make these things in America anymore, and that's just wrong.
She repeated her opposition to the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal. Campaigning in Florida, Trump again promised a massive cut in taxes and government regulations. He pledged to boost spending on national roads and bridges and said he would allow families to deduct their full child care expenses from their federal taxes. But Trump's comments on foreign policy and Islamic terrorism got the most attention.
I call President Obama and Hillary Clinton the founders of ISIS. They're the founders.
Liberal pundits were outraged, and Trump was even challenged by conservatives, like talk show host Hugh Hewitt, who defended President Obama.
He's not sympathetic to them. He hates them. He's trying to kill them.
He was the founder.
Trump explained what he meant by calling the president the founder of ISIS.
He is the founder in a true sense. If he would have stayed, I didn't want to be there, but if he would have kept a relatively small force, he probably could have prevented ISIS from forming. Okay? And now you look at what's going on with ISIS, where they're spreading.
Gary Lane, CBN News.
Well, that's the way it is. But, this Moussaoui, who founded ISIS, actually, was a pimp. I mean, he liked procuring women and living a pretty bawdy lifestyle. And then he had this religious feeling, and he actually, as I understand, he felt like the skin needed to be cut off his body. He had some kind of a thing where they scraped the skin off. I mean,
like a disease, you mean?
Well, like he felt that he had such stain and sin on him. He wanted to give himself to Allah, so he takes whatever you do to scrape skin off, and it was a horrible thing he did to himself.
I never understand. It's not just him. You hear this about a number of people who've been involved in some of this activity, this very violent activity, who say that they're doing it to adhere to their Muslim faith, and they do it in the name of Allah, but they are involved in these body scenarios in their private life. How does one match that up? I don't get it.
Muhammad lived a rather, well, as far as sexual things, it was the sky's the limit. You could have 4 wives, you could have, I mean, the whole promise of martyrdom, you're going to get 72 virgins. What is that? Well, that's a sexual orgy when you get to paradise. 72 of them.
I guess. I mean, after 72 days, they're not anymore, and you're...
Well, 72, and some of these guys, when they blow themselves up, have some kind of protection over their genitalia so they'll be in shape for the virgins. I mean, this whole thing is based on sex. And that was how he rewarded his followers in those early days. He said, look, we'll give you wives, we'll have you can have sex slaves. Well, that's what ISIS is doing. They're taking these women from these, these small groups, and they're making sex slaves out of them.
Yeah, it's hard to understand women being attracted to.
Well, they're not attracted, they're forced.
That.
I mean, ISIS, they had a group of those Yazidi women who had been made wives compulsory, and these women said, we cannot do this any longer. We are not going to permit these men to have sexual relations with us. Okay, so what did they do? They put them in a cage and set them on fire and burned them to death. That's how they handled that. They are brutal monsters, and they needed to be wiped off the face of the earth. But this... the first one, Musawi, was the one who created this whole idea of the caliphate. And the one, Maghadi now, who's his successor, he's claimed himself, he's the caliph, and he's the head of this. The whole idea of the Levant was that place in the Middle East where these people were going to be in charge, like the old caliphs in the Turkish Ottoman Empire. Okay.
Well, certainly something we'll be continuing to cover as we look at all of this, but it's sometimes difficult to understand. Well, coming up, the key to boosting your overall health lies, as we mentioned earlier, in your gut.
When people start increasing their prebiotic fiber, the changes in their health are remarkable. Weight loss, immediate. Improvement of mood by adding prebiotic fiber to your diet. Who knew? This is revolutionary new information.
See how a diet that nurtures your gut also nurtures your brain and much, much more. It's all after this.
Well, a few months ago, I read about this particular cure for disease, and it was so important that I thought we wanted to bring you a major story. So I asked our health editor, Laurie Johnson, to please do a thorough piece on this particular health, what do you call it?
An area, I guess.
It's an area, it's a natural medicine. Well, Hippocrates, the father of medicine, once said, all disease begins in the gut. The gut. You don't think, the gut, well, okay. Today, more than 2,000 years later, Hippocrates' words still ring true. Our Laurie Johnson explains how some of our latest medical breakthroughs focus on what's happening in this vital part of our anatomy.
Bacteria, also known as bugs or germs. We assume they're all bad, right? Not so fast. Scientists recently discovered much, if not most, of the bacteria in our body is good for us. In fact, a key to good health depends on having enough of the right kind.
We all have trillions of bacteria living in our intestines, hundreds of different species, all performing different functions. Scientists call it our gut flora.
Neurologist David Perlmutter is one of many physicians warning against disrupting this fragile ecosystem.
We all carry good and bad bugs, if you will, and it's the imbalance that seems to be the biggest trigger for our illnesses.
Dr. Vincent Pedre agrees, adding a healthy gut protects us from everything from the common cold to cancer.
So the connection between the gut and the immune system is quite significant because 80% of our immune system is located all along the boundary of the gut.
Unfortunately, when it comes to good gut bacteria, many of us are sorely lacking.
We're seeing a epidemic of disruption of the microbiome and the gut bacteria worldwide. And the reason for that is because of such widespread use and prescribing of antibiotics.
After all, antibiotics kill bacteria, bad and good.
You've got to understand that taking an antibiotic will change the complexity of your gut bacteria and the diversity of the gut bacteria for the rest of your life. Just one course of antibiotics.
Processed food can also be a culprit.
There's way too much sugar in our diet. And sugar breeds bad organisms. And when I say sugar, I'm also talking about artificial sweeteners because they've been shown that artificial sweeteners cause a dysbiosis and promote the growth of not very favorable bacteria that can cause inflammation and disease.
We've got to welcome fat back to the table, but only the good fats, not the modified fats. So be very liberal with your use of extra virgin olive oil and coconut oil, grass-fed meat if you can find it, wild fish, nuts and seeds.
Even babies delivered by cesarean section can miss out on getting enough good bacteria.
We gain our first bacteria at the moment of birth. When we are born, we pass through the birth canal. The baby is inoculated with bacteria that are transferred from mother to baby. And those are the seeds for the gut bacteria that will last a lifetime.
So while our lifestyle choices can really do a number on our intestinal flora, the good news is we can make our gut healthy again and keep it that way with probiotics and prebiotics.
Probiotics equal good bacteria. You can find these microscopic organisms in supplements as well as in cultured and fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, yogurt, kefir, and kombucha. Your good bacteria live off prebiotics. Just like good soil, they create a nurturing environment so your bacteria can thrive. You can get prebiotics in supplement form as well as in foods like asparagus, onion, leeks, garlic, and dandelion greens.
When people start increasing their prebiotic fiber, the changes in their health are remarkable. Weight loss, immediate improvement of mood by adding prebiotic fiber to your diet. Who knew? And this is revolutionary new information.
Not only mood, Perlmutter says even serious brain disorders like ADHD, autism, even Alzheimer's can improve by increasing good bacteria because they make neurotransmitters and vitamins while reducing inflammation.
Well, I lost my dad just last year to Alzheimer's disease, so I really get it. And I want to stand up and be heard that it's great that we try to develop a cure for this disease, but we know right now as we have this discussion that it is preventable. And when we eat a diet that nurtures the gut, it will nurture the brain.
And not just the brain, scientists are now identifying specific strains of good bacteria that treat all kinds of problems, from skin rashes to the flu. That means a targeted probiotic could take the place of a prescribed drug.
I think we're just on the tip of the iceberg of learning how to harness that potential and use it for therapeutic interventions.
So if you want to boost your health, doctors say improve your gut flora. That means avoiding processed foods, even antibacterial cleansers and antibiotics when advisable. Then add good bacteria with probiotics and boost them with prebiotics, available in supplements, certain foods, or both. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Fabulous report. Ladies and gentlemen, most people don't know about this. This is kind of a strange area that is not widely publicized. But just think, one course of antibiotics, you said you can kill this stuff in your stomach for the rest of your life? That's horrible. And, you know, the doctors just pass out antibiotics like crazy, like this is the way you get arch. You've got a cough, here's some antibiotics. And you take these things, and then if nothing else, you've got to build it back up with stuff like yogurt and these prebiotics. But Laurie's done a great service. I think we may want to bring that back again, because can you think of all the diseases people have? You know, autism and Alzheimer's.
Sure. Even ADHD. So many people struggle with the issues of that.
Rashes and all these things that little children have, all these diseases, you know, that they have, could be alleviated if they got the right kind of food. It's amazing. All right, well, you've heard it here on the 700 Club. We're here to help you. Terry?
Well, up next, a party girl winds up in the ER, astonishing her doctors.
We have no clue how you are alive. You have more drugs in your system than what should kill 3 grown men. You are a walking dead woman.
Watch what happens when this dead woman leaves the hospital after this.
Wow. You're watching the 700 Club on this lovely, hot Friday. There's a heat wave all over the East Coast, and they say the heat here in our Tidewater area, the heat index will be about 103 today. Temperature's up close to 100. It's going to be miserable. But anyhow, got plenty of air conditioning, thank the Lord. Hope you've got it. Heather Schott loved to party. That's why when her friend offered her ecstasy, Heather eagerly indulged. Then suddenly, Heather was foaming at the mouth and completely blacked out.
Me and a group of friends, we were out, we were going from party to party, and we were doing drugs in the car before going into the parties and then drinking at the parties. I started foaming at the mouth. And the last thing I remember, he says to me, "Heather, are you okay?" And that's when I blacked out. My parents divorced when I was 2 years old. All I really knew is Daddy hated Mom, Mom hated Daddy, and I was hearing from both sides of the reasons for why they disliked each other. It put a lot of bitterness or frustration in my heart towards my parents at a pretty young age. My mom was remarried when I was about 4.5, 5 years old. When my mom married my stepdad, they really began to strongly put their faith in the Lord and planting themselves in church. I knew who God was. I knew about the Bible. I knew stories in the Bible, but I wouldn't say that I really had a strong relationship, which is so key, with God. From the viewpoint of a kid, my dad was just the funnest dad ever. I stayed out as late as I wanted. I went out with who I wanted. If I didn't want to come home at night, I didn't come home. If I wanted to drink, I could drink. If I wanted to smoke, I could smoke. Going into high school, I just became out of control for my mom and my stepdad to handle. And I said, hey, I'm moving in with my dad. And that really just led into all different types of drugs, cocaine and ecstasy, all different types of pills. We'd crush and snort, and we were smoking. It was partying every weekend. And I just began to kind of flush out any good influences in my life, from family members to friends to church, everything I began to flush out. And emotionally, I was broken. I was just an angry, hurt person. And all of those things started to brew a lot of insecurities. One night, me and a group of friends, we were out, we were going from party to party, and we were doing drugs in the car before going into the parties and then drinking at the parties. And one of my good friends, he had a big bag of ecstasy. He runs it over. There it is, crushed to powder, this huge bag. So we're like, whatever, we're just gonna snort it tonight, and we're just gonna have this awesome, best night of our lives. So he just starts feeding us all lines, line after line. And the last thing I remember is my best friend, who was also with us that night, he says to me, "Heather, are you okay?" And that's when I blacked out. I started foaming at the mouth. The guy had been feeding me the lines that night. He freaked out. He thought I was dead, and he leaves me in an abandoned apartment. Nobody's living in the complex, and just leaves me on the floor of one of the bedrooms. I laid there for 3 days. No recollection of any of that time, no consciousness, nothing. My best friend confronted that guy who'd fed me those pills and said, "You need to show me where Heather is at," in a pretty strong confrontation. They had both thought I was dead, and the door was just cracked. And when I heard them, I moved a little bit, and he saw me move, and he came in and he picked me up off the floor. They rushed me home to my dad, and that was the first time I started waking up after those 3 days. The doctors, I remember them doing tests on me and walking in the room and saying, "We have no clue how you are alive. You have more drugs in your system than what should kill 3 grown men. You are a walking dead woman." And I remember just breaking, crying, because I knew I should have been dead. And so it was a moment of a little bit of me awakening, and questioning, what am I doing? My mom had the police come pull me out of my dad's house, and so she wasn't giving up on the fight either for me. And so some of the rules of now being at home was I had to start attending church with them again. Whether or not I wanted to admit it, it felt good. And so my heart, I would just say, it just began to slowly soften. Relationship with God, that was a big thing that changed for me. Not just attending church. I was feeling just a supernatural peace that I never experienced before. And ultimately, that was what won my heart over, was that just loving, peaceful presence of God. The Lord, He delivered me of drugs. He delivered me from alcohol. He delivered me from stealing. He delivered me from these intense, addictions that I had that took a couple of years. It gets easier. There's hard moments in that process. There's harder days than others. And part of my accountability was my husband, who I had met. My mom had introduced us only 3 months after my OD. We went on our first date, and I told him everything. I thought he was gonna get up and leave the table when he heard everything I'd ever done. Coming from a person who never drank, never done drugs, was a virgin, listened to all of my junk, and was just filled with compassion. We started dating after that. We just fell so in love, and he really introduced me to the Holy Spirit. I'm so grateful that God's grace honestly gave me that second chance, gave me an incredible husband, and I get to do what I do now. You need to know that when you receive Christ into your life, you don't have to hold your head down low, ashamed of the mistakes that you made, whether it's child out of wedlock, whether it's divorce, whatever it is. There's so many things that people carry around forever and let them eat up their life instead of living in the fullness of what God intended. The reason why He wants to save us and deliver us is to use us. So as long as we allow that shame, those scars, those things to hold us up, it prevents the purpose of why He wants to save us, why He wants to deliver us, why He wants to redeem us. You are unscarred. You are made new when you receive Jesus into your life. He fully makes you new. It doesn't mean that I forget my past, because I want to forever be grateful, but I'm not held to that. That's not who I am. I'm made new.
What a gorgeous girl. Could you believe that somebody as fresh and beautiful as that could have been OD'd on ecstasy and out partying and I guess sleeping around doing all the other stuff she did? Can you believe that? You say, I couldn't believe it. I look at that and I think, couldn't possibly happen. Well, you see what the Bible says is that we are to have our consciences cleansed of dead works, that we might serve the living God. That's what the Bible says. Our conscience cleansed of dead works, that we might serve the living God. And it doesn't matter what you've done. You see, God is the judge of all the earth, and you come before Him and He can say, okay, look, I pronounce you not guilty. That is a decree from on high that supersedes any earthly court, any earthly jurisdiction, any rumor in the neighborhood or whatever else. God says, I pronounce you cleansed. I pronounce you acquitted. I pronounce you free, completely justified. You are justified just as if you've never sinned. That's what God will say. Now, nobody can come against that kind of ruling. That's the ruling from on high. That is the Supreme Court of all the courts, and He pronounces you free. He pronounces you whole. He pronounces you guiltless. That's when you take Him as Savior. That's what He'll do for you, and then He'll give you a brand new life. If you want that, don't turn Him down. Don't turn Him down. Don't try to be smart and cute and all the rest of it. It's too important. You're dealing with your immortal soul. And say to God right now, Lord, I don't want to carry this burden anymore. I don't want to be the best party person. I don't want to be a hero in drinking. I don't want to be somebody who has more girls or boys and sexual relations than anybody around. I don't want to be that kind of a hero. I want to be your man. I want to be your woman. I want to belong to you. And from this moment on, I'm yours. Just say that and pray it with me. Lord, from this moment on, I'm yours. I'm yours. Thank you, Lord. Amen. Now, if you prayed that, I want you to go to your telephone, call in. It's 1-800-759-0700. If somebody's here that loves you and talks to you, the angels of heaven are rejoicing over you. And remember, God isn't condemning you. There is therefore now no condemnation to them that are in Christ Jesus. That's what the Bible says. Therefore now no condemnation. Now, I'm not going to condemn you. Jesus didn't condemn you. God didn't condemn you. So get your head up. Look tall. Stand tall. You're a child of God. You've given your heart to Him. Now live like it. Terry?
Well, coming up, she's danced in Times Square in Israel, right here on the CBN campus, and all the way to the Miss Virginia crown. Michaela Sigmon joins us live on today's 700 Club.
Welcome back to the 700 Club. Simone Manuel made history at the Olympics last night by becoming the first African American to win a gold medal in swimming. The Texas native tied for the first place finish in the women's 100 freestyle. The 19-year-old said that the glory belongs to God and that she feels so blessed to win. And American gymnast Simone Biles won gold in the individual all-around finals competition. And we have a special section of the faith of the Olympic athletes in a wide range of sports on cbnnews.com. It is called Olympic Profiles in Faith. And Operation Blessing is bringing awareness to human trafficking at the Rio 2016 Olympics. Staff and volunteers are showing a virtual reality experience on the streets of Brazil near the Olympic venues. The virtual reality videos are taking people inside the real world of human trafficking from the perspective of 5 women and their experiences in trafficking. The stories were recorded in Bangladesh, Nepal, Mexico, Bolivia, and Brazil. Viewers are also able to watch the films in English, Spanish, or Portuguese. And you can find out more about Operation Blessing by going to their website at ob.org. Pat and Terry are back with more of the 700 Club right after this.
Michaela Sigmon loves to dance, and the reigning Miss Virginia is studying to be a sportscaster someday. Take a look.
Michaela Sigmon has been dancing since she was 4 and competing in pageants since she was 6. She joined a professional dance team at 16. But Michaela's first love was pageants. Last month, her years of hard work paid off when she was crowned Miss Virginia 2016. She'll represent her home state in the Miss America pageant in September.
Please welcome to the 700 Club, Michaela Sigmon. It's wonderful to have you here.
It's lovely to be here today.
First of all, congratulations, because this was a recent victory for you.
Thank you. It was about 6 weeks ago.
Was it fun?
Ma'am. It was so exhilarating. I mean, it's all of my years of hard work and my reaching my goals is just, it's a dream come true, really. I'm living my dream.
That's wonderful. How has your life changed? You've had 6 weeks of being Miss Virginia. You're getting ready to go to the Miss America pageant. What's it like?
It's really busy, but I love being busy, and I always tell people that, I just want to share God's grace and His love, through my walk to Miss America. Whether my feet are tired or I'm exhausted and I just want to sleep, I take a few cups of coffee and I'm good.
That kind of is one of the great learning experiences, I think, of being Miss Virginia, Miss America, whatever, is that you just many days have to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and keep on keeping on. You've danced since, we just saw that video, since you were 4 years old. You've been in pageants since you were very young. How did that all start for you?
What I think about is I love to dance. I love to do gymnastics, and I was actually in acting and modeling when I was younger, but for some reason I always chose pageants. And I really just feel like in my generation, in this time in history, we need to promote valuing others and the self-worth in our community right now. That's my platform, making it matter. And that's why I chose pageants all to begin with, is because I was meant for this time and purpose to share valuing others.
What do you mean when you say that, making others feel valuable? How do you do that?
I always say that I don't know you, but I see you and I value you. So I was told this story my freshman year of college, and it talked about this man who had a beautiful job in the city of New York, beautiful family, but all he wanted is value. In his suicide letter that night, he wrote, "If just one person were to smile at me while I walk down the streets of Times Square, I won't commit suicide." That night, no one smiled at him. If I can be that one person to smile at just, someone and make the difference and save their life, that's what I'm here for.
Talk a little bit about dance, because it's been such a significant part of your life. I mean, you've danced, as I mentioned, in some key places. You've danced here on our campus at CBN, because every September we celebrate Rosh Hashanah, and you were a part of a dance troupe that really brings a spiritual element.
Exactly.
Additional spiritual element to all of that.
Yes, so I was raised at Academy de Ballet, dancing David and Honora Hummel. They just really taught me that dancing is a gift. It's a gift from the Lord, and to use it in a powerful way, and not only to train at Academy, but to step outside my limits, to bring light in a dark place. And that's what I'm hoping to do, on the Miss America stage, is just show, His light and His guidance in my life.
That I think is one of the highlights for girls who compete in state level and then national level in the Miss America program, is that you are called upon to do a talent. And so as a dancer, are you excited about that? Are you looking forward to it?
I am so excited. It's something that I've done since I was 4. And it's been so many years of hard work and training. And I'm just excited I'm dancing to Baby I'm a Star. And if I can make someone feel like a star, like a golden star, I've done my job.
Well, we talked a little bit about your platform. When you go to the Miss America pageant, it is like every level of pageant, it's like it just gets ramped up a little bit. What do you think will be the biggest challenges for you?
Not to be nervous. I think that God calls us, something that I'm learning in my journey in 6 weeks as Miss Virginia, is He calls us to be humble, but He also calls us to be bold and courageous, and to walk in His guidance, and to walk and let Him speak through you and give Him the wisdom that you're supposed to have.
There are a lot of people in our culture today that don't value Christian values, that wouldn't agree with some of them. How do you handle that in interview situations where maybe the judges who are interviewing you would not agree with your value system?
It's so crazy that you say that, because at my Miss Virginia interview, I was told before I walked in that I had no chance, because they believed completely different than me, politically, morally. And I said that, when God was on this earth, what did He do? He said that the greatest thing is love. And so He is love. And that's what I walk in. I've learned to agree to disagree. It's a beautiful thing. You have to find that common goal, and you have to love someone in spite of their view. You have to listen and value their voice as well.
Yeah. Your goal is to be a sportscaster. Where did that come from? I mean, in the middle of the dance and the pageants and all else, here comes sportscasting.
Well, I was raised in a home where I had two older brothers that played sports. So I was that little 4 or 5 year old who was dragged to, baseball games all up and down the East Coast. And I love the atmosphere of a sports team, and just the bonding, the unity, and to be able to broadcast that one day would be an incredible opportunity.
Well, now the Miss America pageant coming up, what's your big focus as you head there?
My big focus is that everyone that I meet, everyone that is helping me with my mock interviews, preparing for the Miss America pageant, that I value them. That when I'm on the stage, I want them to look at me and say, wow, she valued me. Or when I walk out of my Miss America interview saying, there's something different about her. She valued me. Like I'm supposed to be, interviewing her, but yet she flipped the page and she valued me in spite of the nervousness that goes on.
Practicing what she preaches already. Well, we want you to know you can watch Michaela compete in the Miss America pageant. It's taking place on Sunday, September 11th, really right around the corner. It's 9 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. And right now you can watch our web exclusive interview with Miss Virginia on Facebook. If you'd like to see that, just go to facebook.com/700club. Michaela, we wish you the best. We'll be watching and cheering you on as you go forward with all of this.
Thank you. The best gift that you can give me is your prayers.
Thank you for being with us today. Pat?
What a lovely girl. How sweet. Well, still ahead, we'll bring it on. A viewer says, I work for a small, privately owned family business. I have not had a raise in 3 years, and the business is a mess. I can't apply elsewhere because my boss knows everyone in our small town. What can I do? I feel stuck. Woo! Well, we got that one and some more questions when we bring it on.
Well, like Cinderella, a young girl named Viviana was forced to be a servant to her family. But Viviana's story would never have had a fairy tale ending without the help of CBN partners, people just like you.
When Viviana's parents died, she was taken in by her uncle, who made her the family servant.
I was only 3 years old, but he made me do lots and lots of chores, like washing the dishes and cleaning the house. I got into trouble if I didn't do it all fast enough. He didn't take good care of me or let me go to school.
When people saw how Viviana was being treated, they contacted the Love and Blessing Children's Home. Her uncle let her go to the home, which was built entirely by Orphans Promise. Here, Viviana has grown up in a new home, where she isn't the servant girl.
I'm really comfortable here. I go to school and I feel good about myself. The things I never had before, like good clothes, I am now able to get.
Viviana has thrived at this children's home. She's a very bright girl. Out of 350 students at her school, she ranks 3rd.
I know that I have a good future ahead of me. As long as I can grow up here, I will enjoy my life. After school, I know I can be anything I want to be.
Before we left, we took Viviana shopping to get some school supplies for her and the other children. You can tell that all of the kids here are happy to have a home and an extended family of 50 brothers and sisters. They have hot meals every day and people who care about them.
I thank God for you, and I pray that He will help you take care of other children like me. Thank you.
You know, sometimes we don't realize how significant it is in the lives of all of us as we've grown up to know we're taken care of. You know, Miss Virginia was just talking about giving people that sense that I'm seen, I'm valued. Every child not just wants that, but needs that. Orphans Promises CBN's outreach to orphaned and vulnerable children around the world, and your gifts allow us to be there for children like Viviana. So we want to say thank you in advance of your calling us, but we're asking you today, would you please call and help us reach out to even more kids? There are millions and millions of orphans around the world, and we don't just improve their lives, we create leaders for their nations. When they come to know the Lord, they get healed emotionally, they receive an education, quality food, be a part of making a difference in the tomorrow of these kids and their countries. And you do that by calling our toll-free number. It's 1-800-759-0700. Just say, I want to join the 700 Club. It's 65 cents a day, $20 a month. When you do that, we want to send you our gift, thank you, Victory Through Life Storms. Pat's put this together. You're going to be so blessed by this. What do you do in your life when stuff happens, and it happens to all of us. Pat shares with you 50 years of experience that he's gone through here at CBN and how God has stayed the course with him and given him victory in areas that were really challenging sometimes. We'd like you to have that. So call now and thank you for caring. Well, before we bring it on, I want to remind you, you can see a web-exclusive interview with Miss Virginia, Michaela Sigmon. Check it out, facebook.com/700club. Ready for a question?
All right, let's lay it on me.
This is a viewer who says, Dear Pat, I work for a small, privately owned family business, and when I first started this job several years ago, I found it was a fun job. Now I find it's getting out of control. I've not had a raise in 3 years. Their business is a mess. I can't apply anywhere else because my boss knows everyone in our small town. I didn't realize I was getting involved in something so messy and disorganized. What can I do?
Well, like it or not, you've got to get out. And I think even if you had to move to another community to find employment, you can't, that'll ruin your life. And before long, you'll wind up, you're 60 years old and your life's a mess and you wonder, what have I done with my life? You don't need to be abused by some mismanaged
totally agree.
Family firm. You just don't need that. You have no obligation to these people, and there's nothing unchristian about walking out of a deal that's bad. But the usual advice is before you jump ship, make sure you got another ship to jump to. You know.
Wise counsel.
Right,
okay, this is James who says, my wife and I made a dumb choice and bought a truck we shouldn't have after I retired from the military. We've since paid it off and are in a much better financial situation, but the truck's gotten a little older and needed repairs. My wife said we already spent way too much on the truck and that she would not allow one more penny to be spent on it. I think it's much more reasonable to get the truck fixed than it's paid off. She wouldn't budge, so I took out a $3,600 loan in my name without telling her to get the truck fixed. She found out and is now really angry. I don't know what to do.
What you should have done is get your finances in order, get your house in order. If you're the head of the household, I think you ought to make the decisions. I don't understand why your wife has a veto on repairing a truck. You know, that should be your decision, and you know, if you're the head of the household, you make the decision. I don't know what else to do. Well, we leave you with today's Power Minute from Galatians. Let us not become weary in well-doing, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up.